Well, you're looking good. Let's kick this off by saying, first of all, and we'll get to the water situation in a moment or two. But are you involved in any of the summertime meetings going on across the state in preparation for 2023?
You mean in preparation for the next session?
Yeah, in preparation for the next session.
We've had a couple of insurance committee hearings this week as well as a couple of weeks ago.
Anything that you want to report on, or is it just groundwork?
Pharmacy benefit management is a big issue.
Yes, it is.
Prior authorizations are getting to be a frustrating thing for a lot of doctors. They get 98, 99% approval, but it may take you 3 weeks to 3 months, and so they're trying to get some help with that.
Senator, is it a solvable situation? Can it be solved with the right bill?
Can what be solved?
Can this problem be solved? This health care problem with the checks coming, the checks going, and all of the things we have with the benefit managers and things.
Yeah,
we just redid the contract.
I think cooler heads need to prevail. Folks are kind of in their corners right now.
But what I'm asking you though, is it solvable? If you guys have the will to do it, can you solve it?
That's the missing ingredient. We have to have the will on all sides.
What's stopping the will? Is it payments from campaign contributions?
Well, I don't know about campaign contributions, but I think the influence of pharma has a lot to do with
that's how you get the influence. What other way do you get the influence?
Well, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's about the benefits that the companies themselves are enjoying, and they don't want to give them up. So that's pretty much human nature. But I think we can come up with the solution.
When the companies don't want to give up those benefits, they have larger campaign contributions, and it goes around in a circle one way or the other.
If that's the case, I need to find out who those folks are because my coffers are empty right now.
Well, come on. I mean, you're chairman of the Senate Labor Committee and also vice chair of tourism. Maybe you're just not on the right committee.
That may be it, Paul. That might be it.
So what is a bill going to come out to do that, to solve that situation, or at least to address it?
I think we will. I don't think that we've made some adjustments here recently, but it's just not enough, and there will be a bill.
We got to do something
in the winter session.
Let me have pick your brain for a second or two, because we had a good interview yesterday with your cohort in the Senate, Kevin Blackwell and Nicole Boyd. We talked to them about that study group that's going on how we're going to face this as far as post-Dobbs now. The number they banning around is we possibly could have 5,000 births additional in the state of Mississippi that normally would go through abortion, and those babies would never have a chance. But how do you handle it now that we've won that? And I say we, the people who were praying that Roe versus Wade would stop this slaughter. Now our task is, how do we address this? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, right now, Senator Nicole Boyd out of Oxford is preparing for a bunch of hearings on just this subject, things like what sort of wraparound services are we going to provide to mothers and their children? Are we going to finally look at postpartum care to be extended for a full year? Rather than the 60 days it is right now.
Yeah.
So committee meetings are being planned to address a lot of these issues.
Well, they've had one, and we talked about that yesterday. But
right.
That's the breadth of what you know about that.
Yeah, I'm not directly involved with Senator Boyd's hearings, but I do know that a lot of human services related issues and healthcare related issues are being addressed.
I mean, your wisdom is something here that I'm really trying to dig into. You know that community there on both sides, from the suburbs to the rural areas. I mean, you've been around for a long time. What do you think the solution is as far as the low birth rates, as far as marriages or teenage pregnancy? How do we solve that situation?
You know, Paul, our human capital development has always been something that Mississippi was lacking in terms of providing the kinds of wraparound services for folks to really grow and prosper. And yet we have the resources to do so. We're carrying over money from the Department of Human Services annually, not in the $5 or $10 million, in the tens and sometimes the hundreds of millions of dollars. And so we've got to put those resources to work to really
How
turn
would you
people's
use
lives
those?
around.
What do you?
I think wraparound services
I
is a
hate
big
when politicians do this. Let's take it to the next level. What would you do? We're talking about 16, 18, 20-year-old kids, young adults getting pregnant out of wedlock, having a baby. Normally could get an abortion. Now that baby will be born if there are no abortion services available to them, if it is not rape, incest, or the mother's health. So how do you get them more contraceptive services, more education? What do you use that money on that we're not doing now?
I think it's all of the above, Paul. I think we've got to rethink how we're delivering human capital services to our citizens. We have too many folks who are getting pregnant without the financial means of taking care of a child. We have too much undereducation in our communities. We have too much crime in our communities. But we do have resources, and we just have to use those resources a lot smarter than what we've been doing. You know, there are places in other states where they are really dealing with, instead of trying to help someone find a job that they can hopefully make a livable wage, those folks come with problems. They may have post-traumatic stress syndrome. They may be a victim of domestic violence. They may have some mental health issues. We have the resources to address those issues, and we ought to start putting a comprehensive system in place to do just that. We're putting Band-Aids on it right now, and it's not a comprehensive solution.
But regardless of the state of Mississippi or any other state, can you give me one government program that has been successful in changing the culture of a family to where it makes it more attractive to stay married and to stay in school and to get an education, and those are the keys to a successful life. Every government program out there has been the contrary.
Well, you know, if you look at Families First and the whole MCC controversy, that they were supposed to be addressing those things, but they were doing other things that were not, I don't think, what the program was intended for.
Well, I mean, I agree with you 100% on that one. I mean, that's nice. Nobody can argue about that one. But that doesn't lay the groundwork of the solution that more money is going to solve this situation.
Well, I'm not sure that government needs to be trying to do this. I think that there may be a role for the private sector, the faith-based community to do this, but that they also need resources. Yeah. And I've been looking at programs in St. Louis. The Mississippi Center for Education, I think is what it's called. It's a human capital development group that works with welfare eligible, TANF eligible recipients to try to get them all the services that they need to pull their lives together. There's a group called Turnaround Tuesday in Baltimore that also is doing some great things. But they're not taking any government money.
It's a little daunting, and I don't want to sound like a fatalist here, but when you understand that the only thing that can change this is a change of heart, it's not something that the government can force.
You're absolutely right.
And I'm not standing on a pulpit or anything else, but you can have the brightest people together, you get a collection of Einsteins in a room, and they'll come up with the same thing. You got to change your heart, because the government's not going to change it under the form of government we have here that allows you so much freedom. And I'll give you a chance to answer this.
I see that we're about to come up on a break, but I would like to address that when we get back.